When it comes to replacement parts, and any car that has 160,000 miles on it, you're going to come into a point where you're going to have to start replacing parts. And I've replaced quite a few. These are notorious for the power steering pump to go out. That was one. It was probably about a $600 fix. Some of these cars, I mean, I work a lot on my cars, but I can't work on this one here too much. That was one of the very first things that I replaced. I've replaced an alternator, which that's a simple one because that's from up underneath. I did just replace a starter, very difficult. I had over $1,300 in that project. It's not that the starter is expensive, it's where it's located, and it's actually underneath the plenum. And that plenum, once you get into that, I mean, you're basically taking the top end of the motor off. I started on it, but I was in my garage and cracked the fuel lines, and fuel started spurting out. And I was good, 10 to 15 feet away from the hot water heater. Not a good idea, so I just kind of had it towed over to my local garage, and they enjoyed working on it because this car being such a hybrid. We ended up replacing gaskets and put in some platinum plugs since it hadn't had a tune-up like that. We also replaced the spark plug wires, but just a lot of things. As well as a couple things, if you look at the fit and finish on the door panel here, there's actually a number of different materials. There's kind of an hard impact plastic that does have a little bit of cushion to it. There's the wood, and it's actual wood, burl. There is leather foam that has a foam backing to it, pretty plush. Then there is the pad itself or the armrest, and that's leather, and then it's almost as though they've got a leather wrap around the rest of the door, and then underneath that carpet. So there's a lot of different transitions of a lot of different material that really help. There is there's probably a whole bunch of flaws, but you're still talking about a car that's 17 years old, up around one of the, and I'm not sure, it could even happen to all of them if you look at the cars. The vent where, up here in the front, you can see these two cracks. That is just inherent. I think it has to do with plastic surrounded by wood, and then the wood expanding and contracting kind of binds that plastic and cracks it. You can actually replace that, but as I was looking to replace it, it's about $450. A little pricey at that, so I haven't replaced it. If you're looking for a convertible, and the O2s do have that retractable hardtop convertible, but with this one with the sunroof, and then the pulling that back and pulling down the large windows, it's as though you have a convertible. There's a lot of air and a lot of sunlight that comes in. One thing about these doors is these doors are huge, and then if you look at how they're hinged on, the hinges aren't going to come out anywhere. So it's a well-built car. I think anything, if you're looking at a car that is as old as this one is, how well is it? If it's built well, it's going to last over the years. Now, there are cars out there that are just extremely rough, and you could buy those for a whole lot less. But the clean ones, and there are those that are clean, you just have to see what kind of pride the owner has in those cars. But you can get a good buy. Even if you were looking at some point as a race car, this could be a good one. Good strong motor, good strong transmission. This, as well as the O2, they're so low to the ground that they are kind of prone to little pebbles in the front end that pop up and kind of chip the paint. So if you see that on either model, that's just the way that it is. Probably a little bit more prominent in the darker colors than they are in the light colors. I've tried to do everything I probably have a half a dozen or so. I've had paint mixed. I've not gone to the point where I've taken it and sprayed it. That's what they ended up saying, that the spray would actually be a little different. So I think we've covered all of the issues that could be plaguing this car. Just remember that it is a sound car, even 17 years later. It looks good. It has some long-term styling. If you do purchase one of the things you're going to look for is probably a car that's going to be a little bit more expensive, being as old as it is. You're probably going to spend quite a bit more. The other thing is when you're looking at parts, replacement parts, you can go down to your local auto parts store, and a lot of times it'll just take a day for them to get something in. But if you're looking at getting them shipped from someplace else, it's going to take a little bit more time. It's going to cost a little bit more. Like I said, when you're looking at those rotors or pads, if you're going to spend $20 or $15 on a set of pads, these are going to be $50 or $60, so you're going to have a lot more in that. Any of the other pieces are going to have a lot more. You'll also have more money in installation of those parts. More difficult to put them in. Not that I'm saying to shy away from the dealer, but if you do have somebody who's a local mechanic who likes working on something different, they may be cheaper in the installation of those parts. Toyota, I've actually had some parts installed there also. Seem to be pretty reasonable. A lot of times I buy the parts and have somebody else install them. So they willingly did it. But that's about it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comment area. Hopefully this helped you a little bit in your purchase. We'll have a lot more cars as we continue this series. I do know that I'll do another Lexus, which is the RX 330.